Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibration so you can live your best life. Let's talk about the term do the work. I am guilty. I have been one of those people that said, you just need to do the work. Admittedly, it was in an intimate relationship and there was a little less sensitivity around delivering the message softly, like I probably should have. But I realized that people don't quite understand what it means to do the work. It's a little too shiny there, so I've been here all day. Um, didn't check before logging in here, so you get the real me. So I just kind of wanted to explain what it means to do the work, right? We don't always understand, especially if we're coming out of the dark night of the soul, we're new to spiritual awakening, we're just figuring all of this stuff out, and basically the way we've lived life isn't working. Everything they told us we should do doesn't make us happy. And we're just kind of left in this blank space of now what the fuck do I do with my life, right? Like, what am I supposed to do from here? Like, where do I go? And that is usually the place and time to start doing the work. And so what does that even mean? Like, how do we do the work? And if you follow me, you know I'm very practical. I like the grounded, like, okay, but what does that mean? Like, how do we do that? And that's kind of where I get myself in trouble, is because I kind of give away the farm because I just want to share with you the how, right? That the high level why is great. It gives us the motivation, the understanding that we need to do it, but it leaves a lot of open doors and in questions and like, how am I supposed to make this work? And then you've got everybody and their brother out there selling you like one piece of the pie, and then you take a course and you're like, okay, but it didn't work for me. And it's not because the entire path is wrong, right? Essentially what we're doing is we're building a bridge from the 3D life to the 5D life, and you may take a course which is one brick in that bridge, but it doesn't get you all the way across. And so that's why I tend to want to give away the farm, is because it's so important to understand all of the different steps and in what order, although they may be different for many people. There is a general high level roadmap. As much as I there's always a caveat to everything I say, right? We live in the dualistic world. You have to find your own path. Things will come to you the way they need to, right? But once you understand it all, you can kind of look back and go, okay, had I been taught in school X, Y, and Z in this order, I never would have been in that place in the first place, right? So there can be a strategy to it if we are going to address the future generations, which I have a passion for. I will be doing soon. There is a strategy, right? There's a pretty quick and easy way to move through some of these lessons and learnings. Now, the challenge is we as adults, not only if we are given the roadmap, which I can do and will attempt to do very quickly here, we also have the undoing of everything else. And that's kind of the added challenge of being 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, 60, 70, whatever, when you finally discover this. And that was the reason, that was the impetus for this business, was how many times did I say, why didn't they teach me that in school? Right? This is like critical life lesson stuff. This is not like woo-woo spiritual foo-foo out there. This is like practical, real life, cannot survive without this stuff, right? So it should be taught in schools. And before I die, it will be in some schools. So how do you do the work? Number one, first and foremost, surrender everything. Surrender all of your physical things, surrender all of your emotional things, surrender all of your beliefs, surrender everything that you thought existed. Just know that it's kind of like somebody came in and used the dry erase on your whiteboard. There's nothing left, right? And it's a good place to be. The blank slate. Sometimes it can be daunting. You might get a little writer's block if you're staring at a blank page, but it's actually a good thing. Recognize the story that you tell yourself about it. That's huge, right? The next piece is the neuroscience piece of it. We have very strong neural pathways that have been reinforced over the entire existence of your life. So they're very, very strong. And notice that those thoughts that go to the negative thought patterns are supported by your neurobiology in its current state. But know that it can change. That nothing is ever always, nothing is ever permanent. Everything is always changing. We know through neuroplasticity that we have the ability to create new neural pathways, new structures in our brain that will support positive thinking. It does not happen overnight. It can take 60 to 90 days just to get the beginnings of a new neural pathway. You're talking 6 months to a year before it becomes easy, but don't let that be daunting. That's awesome news. That means that every time you tried and failed, it didn't make you a failure. That's just the biology of the brain. It takes more sustained effort over time, right? Then you've got limiting beliefs. You got to understand, what's your foundation? What are you built on? What do you choose? All the shoulds and the can'ts and the won'ts and the can't and the didn'ts and anything that's solidified, anything that is so rigid that you feel like there's a wall instead of an open door, that is likely a limiting belief. So really get a hold of what is your foundation, because you're literally standing on the foundation of your beliefs. And from that stems everything else that you experience, as within, so without. Okay, I'm going really fast through a lot of this. I have extensive information on all of these different phases, some on YouTube, some in the course. Reach out to me if you want to understand more about it, but I am going to try to keep this relatively brief for the sake of understanding just what does all of it mean when you say do the work, right? So we identify the limiting beliefs, we start to catch them, we see how they play out through our thoughts, how they create our body's chemistry, they create disease in the body, they create our emotions, they create our frequency, our vibration, and our attraction point. Right? Then we embody the new beliefs and we program them in. There are different strategies and tools that we can use to tap into our subconscious and change these limiting beliefs, really getting in the limbic brain. I highly, highly recommend brain spotting, which I am certified in, as well as I've heard good things about EMDR. I haven't experienced it, so I can't recommend it. But somatic work, things of that nature, where you're really working with the subconscious. Overcoming depression is going to be huge because you've got those neural pathways again. You've got the neurochemistry in the body that's already easily going there. So we'll need to really understand what caused it. How do we catch the thoughts that are leading to it, reprogram the neural pathways, and start to set ourselves on a better path. Anxiety kind of falls in that bucket as well. Focus is huge. Where your focus goes, grows. So start to catch what you focus on, right? Your focus is your energy. If you notice, social media is a focus empire, right? Your focus is a currency. People are vying for your focus in every moment of every day. Recognize that is a power and is valuable. And so call it back and say, no, I'm going to put my focus where I choose, not because the little white or a little red one indicator said, I have a message, and then you go in to text your friend and an hour later you're 5 holes deep in TikTok. No judgment, just saying it happens, right? So catch your focus. Notice where your focus goes, grows. Focus on what you want to grow, not on what you do want, not on what you don't want, right? Understand your intention. My name, Vibe Mentor, the acronym Vibe actually stands for something. It stands for value and intention-based education, meaning you have value. What intention do you have to use it? And now let's base your entire education on your value and your intention, right? And that is for adults, it's for children, doesn't matter. So also notice the should, right? And how we delay our intuition, how we add time to our recovery, how we add time to our healing through all of the shoulds. I should do this, I should do that, we should all over ourselves. Catch the shoulds. It kind of falls in the limiting belief bucket, but it's also part of tapping into your intuition, right? That you have a guidance system. We are giant crystals. Our bodies are lined with silica, and our connective tissues are made of silica, and our bones are calcium. And the two ingredients that make up a crystal, which is used to house memory and direct power, are silica and calcium. Add to that the fact that we are filled with water. Water is a conductor of electricity. We are giant freaking Tesla towers designed to call in your divine source creators energy and guidance so that you can serve and contribute, heal, help, build, create all the fun, beautiful things, enjoy life, right? That's where the fulfillment comes. That's where we nurture this soul sickness of there's got to be something more to life, right? So your intuition is your guidance. Recognize that when you should all over your guidance or your intuition, that you're blocking it. Understanding emotions. Emotions, now feelings and emotions can be put in similar buckets, but we want to separate them out because our emotions and our feelings, they can be, it's still something I'm looking for the right language around, but they can lie to us, especially if we have any kind of unworthiness wounds or complex trauma. Our filter will lie to us and tell us that someone is doing something bad to us when they really didn't, and that will cause us to feel bad. There is that. We're going to put that on the shelf for now. But part of doing the work is understanding how things feel in your body at a somatic level will help you understand if it's right or wrong for you. When you're having a negative thought that's untrue, you will feel like crap. When you're having a positive thought that is true, you will feel amazing. So learning to use the guidance system of how things feel, not feelings necessarily, but recognizing that how something feels to you is valid. That if it's not for you, you have a right to say, I and only I have access to my guidance system. I know what's right for me. I'm going to do what's right for me without hurting others and without being selfish necessarily, although there is a level of self-care that is needed, right? And so understanding that your needs are valid. Having boundaries. If you have a need that is not being met, you cannot reach your highest potential. You cannot be and serve the way that you need to be and serve. So recognizing that your needs have to be met, initially you likely will have to start with your own. Creating boundaries is part of that. Not allowing toxic people to take from you, but also having healthy boundaries with yourself. Getting up at a good time, going to bed at the right time, paying your bills, brushing your teeth. All those things are healthy internal boundaries, right? Yeah, I realize this is long, but this is, all the stuff, right? So if you're anything like me, you want the checklist, this video is for people like me who need that checklist to understand what are all the things that I need to do? What is doing the work, right? And then perspective. What story do you choose? How you view life. We're constantly labeling and bucketing and judging, and how you view life is a choice. And in any moment, you have the ability to choose a different story, to tell yourself something different. If you're going through the dark night of the soul or you're new to awakening, you have two choices in that moment. One, you can say, my life is falling apart. Everything is shit. I don't want to live anymore. Or you can say, everything's falling into place. I'm being guided. This is protection. Rejection is protection, and everything that no longer served me is falling away, and this is a beautiful gift of a blank slate. I get to start over, right? That's perspective. Which one are you going to choose? It is a choice, what story you tell yourself. Then, of course, recognizing the victim drama triangle and how we can get caught in that. If you're always a victim of something, if everybody is always against you, you are playing a role in that, and you have to recognize that. You also can be the persecutor. You also can be the rescuer. We don't want to be any of those. We want to be outside of those. We want to observe the behavior and recognize the different tendencies that will come through the three different angles. Recognizing you have archetypes within you, that you have a king or a queen or a lover, or we have 16 different dimensions of our personality. These two topics kind of go together. You can choose to be anything in any moment. If you've been the victim your entire life, it doesn't matter. You still have the warrior in you. You still have the king or queen in you. You still have the lover in you. And you can choose to call forward those archetypes in any moment. Give them names. I love to give my my hyper vigilant, gotta fix everything. The world's, the weight of the world is on my shoulders, and it's my job to make everybody happy. Her name is Phoebe. If you remember Phoebe from Friends, she's always like la 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 la, right? That we can have these aspects of us, and they can be in there, and we can love on them and say, hey, you served me at one point, but you know what? I think it's time for you to go into the back seat now, and grace is going to come forward. I'm going to have grace for myself, and I'm going to have grace for others, and I'm going to allow grace to come in to care for me, right? So recognizing your archetypes, knowing when to call on them, knowing when to put them in the back seat. Understanding the subtle bodies, the energetic bodies. I'm going to go a little bit faster because I'm getting a little longer than I wanted to, but really just understanding the energetic body, the physical body, the emotional body, how things come in, how things don't go out, if we're not processing them properly, where they might get stuck, and how to work with them when they do, as well as becoming the observer and recognizing that you may have identified with your thoughts. You may have identified with the things you have done, the things you have accomplished, the things people called you, the things people told you you were. None of that is who you are. That the only thing that will always remain is the observer. The consciousness, the awareness is your soul. And as we detach from all of these external things, or even sometimes, internal thoughts that seem to dictate who we are, we can in that moment choose to pull back and rise above and watch from the outside and say, I see that happening. I see that thought. I see how that was habitual. I see how it accidentally went there. I see how that's a tendency. I see how that's a trigger. I see how that's wounding. I see the mirror. Right? Be the seer, not the experiencer. And I understand that's a hard concept, but that's as best I can do in this quick video. And then getting into some of the more challenging stuff, and yet the most impactful stuff. And I believe I put all this other stuff first because it's kind of the foundation building before we go in and we dive in and we dig at the root cause of most of our problems. Most of the things that hold us back is that unworthiness wound. If you felt unheard, unseen, uncared for, or unsafe as a child, for whatever reason, may have had great parents, it's not about blaming them, it's about recognizing how you felt, then you have something called complex trauma. It's in the limbic brain, which is the subconscious brain, and it's in the body. And it's kind of like trying to move through life with these glass shards in our body without agitating any of our organs, right? We just kind of, we don't want to look at the trigger, we don't want to see the problem, we just have these blinders on, everything's awesome. Right? Don't look, right? Because the brain's trying to keep us safe. But until we address the core programming that happened in those ages 0 to 7, where we understand that they're not meeting my need, made me feel bad and wrong, made me feel like there was something wrong with me, I was broken, my needs were a problem, and who I was a problem. So I suppressed them. I don't remember what brings me joy. I don't remember who I was before I decided to wear the mask. I can't remember what brought me excitement before I learned that I had to be what they wanted me to be so that I didn't upset them, that their happiness was my responsibility, and I had to figure out what they wanted me to be to make them happy. This is at the core root cause of most of the issues in the world today, is unmet needs as a child. And it's not your parents' fault, it's not your parents' parents' fault, it's not anybody's fault. Giving away our power does no good, but just recognizing that this is the loop, this is the lens that everything is filtered through, everything you say, everything you do. Anytime you feel that trigger, I don't like what they just said, right? You made me feel bad. No, sorry. That's the mirror of what is asking to be healed in you, right? And so being willing to look at that, getting help with it, because it's impossible to do on your own. These are subconscious, below conscious patterns that loop and loop and loop and play out through your life. I'm not doing this for me. There's plenty of therapists out there that are trained in trauma, trained in brain spotting. I highly recommend finding either them or me. You have to have that mirror. I can't do it alone. I love my therapist. John, you're amazing. If you ever see this video, I'm so grateful for you. Yeah, it's got to be done, right? This is the work, right? And as soon as we start to call back all of the parts of us that we rejected, call back all the pieces that were denied and deemed wrong, we become whole again. We become free to move. We are not afraid of rejection. We're not afraid of being seen. We love ourselves. We have self-love. We learn how to nurture ourselves. We learn how to meet our own needs. We show up more brightly. We shine more brightly. We give our gifts to the world because we are perfectly imperfect for a purpose. We have a purpose. We use that to give and to contribute. We recognize that I am valuable. I'm worthy. I see the evidence in what I have contributed to others. And that will heal this unworthiness wound, right? And of course, it can't come from a place of, I'll do so much for you. I'll overgive so that you love me. But there is a level of contribution that we are built for. And so that's going to be part of the healing path. We reparent ourselves. We give ourselves the things that our parents didn't give us. We understand our attachment styles. And when we move out and in of healthy and unhealthy attachment styles, because we can oscillate, it is possible. We learn how to calm the nervous system. We use breath work to clear out all of the excess emotions, because again, the body keeps the score. So the trauma and the emotion is housed in the body. learning to love ourselves again, like I said, using our authenticity to set intentions and create new choices, choose new things for our lives, choose to make a difference in the lives of others, and feed ourselves from a place of wholeness, both nutrition, made from light, as well as love and respect and connection and the things that we're built for, service and giving. So, not as short as I usually try to make it, but if you if it was too fast for you, pause, make your list. If it was too slow, I'm sorry, there is just too much to cover. But that is what it means to do the work, the 27 steps. That is also the 27 modules of my Mastering Your Mindset course, and I teach you how to do all those things. So if that's of interest, let me know. I love you guys so much, and I have a tendency to want to overgive, so that is why I am here, trying to walk the balance between overgiving from trauma and being of service and being of value and fulfilling my purpose, because we all have one. And I do believe that giving from the heart is pretty important, so that's why I do what I do. Yeah, if you want to talk, I've got a link below for a free 30-minute session. We can identify your abundance blocks. We can identify your core root traumas. However you want to handle that 30 minutes is up to you. I love to connect with you guys because it's really important to create the community and bring people together, and to experience what it's like to see that healthy mirror and that healthy connection that we're built for. And so that's what I'm here for. I love you guys. I will see you on the next video. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Take care. Namaste.